Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a brand new episode of Elets Innovation Talk. I'm Kaanchi Chawla, sub-editor of Elets Technomedia, India's biggest B2B multimedia platform, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. Elets Innovation Talk is a series that highlights innovative leaders across industries who have made remarkable strides in improving lives throughout their initiatives. Today, we are honored to have with us an inspiring entrepreneur who has revolutionized the healthcare industry in India. Please welcome Vivek Srivastava, CEO and co founder of Healthcare at Home. Welcome to the Innovation Talk, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Kaanchi, for inviting me.
So, Vivek Srivastava is an IIT ISB graduate who started his journey by co founding HCAH in 2012, which has now become India's leading out of hospital care company, operating in over 70 cities. His extensive experience and leadership in the healthcare sector have significantly impacted the lives of countless patients across the nation. Not only is he driving HCA's growth, but he also serves as the director of investments as the prestigious Bowman Family Holdings. So, thank you for joining us today. And let's begin with our first question. So, HCAH has undoubtedly revolutionized the healthcare industry with its unique approach. So, could you just walk through the pivotal moment when you realized that this innovative could make a significant impact on the patients' lives?
Sure. So, it was in 2011, late 11, I met, two gentlemen who had come from UK, and they talked about home healthcare, right? So, and how they had built a big company, a $2 billion company in the UK, and they were just, telling about their concept, and I realized that wow, this concept is great because in India we have shortage of beds, and we can't create as many beds because one bed costs a lot of money, 1.5 crore rupees per bed, and hence we don't have that much capital to invest in the country, and again super specialists are very few in the country, right? So it is true till today that there are very few super specialists, less than 5,000 super specialists in almost all super specialty areas. So if we want to solve healthcare's problem in general, these two constraints will make sure that just building hospitals may not solve the problems of healthcare. And then I connected with a good friend of mine who's a healthcare expert called Amit Mukim. He also said that look, it's a great idea, and that started the journey. And then we started looking at how can we build something which is outside of the hospital, yet solve the problems of access, affordability, and standardized outcomes for the country.
So that's truly inspiring, sir. So, and moving on to the next question, in a rapidly evolving, healthcare landscape, how do you ensure that HCH remains at the forefront of technological advancements while maintaining a human touch in patient care?
See, I think we believe that care is always done through the human touch, right? So when we are investing in technology, and we invest a lot, all our focus is again acting on the three things which I talked about. How can we use technology to increase access to more and more people can get the service using technology, right? The next is how can we process improves and scale up using technology so that the cost of servicing reduces, not the cost of humans, but the cost of services all across, or the overheads, etc., reduces, and hence affordability continues to improve, right? So scale improves, which will lead to you being able to deliver services across the nation. You invest in processes and technologies so that the cost of transaction reduces, and hence you are able to price it well, so affordability improves. And the third bit is how can we practically idiot proof it or standardize it in such a way that even a lower educational background person can deliver the same outcomes. Let me give you an example. McDonald's burgers are flipped by 12th class pass people, right? Now, if you go to an Oberoi, or a Taj, you will have, burgers which are made by chefs and sous chefs, etc. But McDonald's makes it with standardized process across the country at the same quality, very good price, and with people who are less educated, but the systems and processes and they build around and technologies which they build around help deliver that.
So that's a great example that you gave us. So, and I must say that you are taking a commendable approach at your organization. So moving on, one of the HCA's core value is patient centricity. So how do you ensure that every team member truly embodies this value and goes above and beyond to create a personalized experience for the patients?
See, I think the way to look at it is that one is a process, and what all can you put in process so that it delivers the results which we are talking of. So, for example, we have institutionalized a process around KPIs of people, which means from top to bottom, everyone is incentivized, or their KPI has net promoter scores in them, right? So the patient satisfaction scores are very, very critical to everyone's KPI from top to bottom. Process, number one. So the number two process is that we have put in a full process of first onboarding, right? Then we have a mechanism in which we, in a 48-hour time frame, we generally connect back with the patients to understand if they have any issues, right? And solve it there and then, rather than wait for a dissatisfaction to come in. And then we have a continuous check, using technology, using people, etc. And then at the end, again, we take a feedback from the patient and the end and use that as the NPS scores. From those feedbacks, continue to improve. So this process goes on. These are all processes, right? The other thing on the is when you're building your communication, when you're building your every time you communicate to people, we talk of patient centricity as very critical. Do what is right for the patient. Do what you will do if your relative was here, right? Another thing which we do is talk about this. I use this phrase from the movie Once Upon a Time in Mumbai, right? Ajay Devgan always used to say, "Bas duaon mein yaad rakhna," right? So we always talk about it. The way we are doing things, people should remember us in their blessings. We are all earning money at the end of the day, but this is the bonus which we'll be able to earn while doing our work, right? So that again is something which is repeated again and again, and this becomes part of the DNA. This takes years to build, but once built, that's DNA of the company. It does not go away that easily.
Truly said, sir. And it's very incredible to see the commitment of HCS towards patient care. So, moving on, innovation often involves taking risk and thinking outside of the box. So, could you share a daring decision or project that HCAH has pursued, which ultimately led to surprising and positive results?
Well, when Delhi was reeling under COVID, right? When we had 20,000, 25,000 patients getting added every day, and we could see people dying all across because hospital beds were not available and so on. At that time, we were literally struggling, saying, "Ki kya kare aisa, that we are able to save people's lives." And one day, very early in the morning, and I was talking to this, I'm not a doctor, but my chief operating officer is a MD medicine, has been an intensivist and so on. So I used to ask him, मुझे तो पता नहीं है कैसे बचा सकते हैं, but you might know how do we save people's life. One day in the morning, he called up and said, Vivek, एक काम कर सकते हैं. but it is a risky thing. Agar jail jaoge to tum hi jaoge, right? So I said what it is, right? So basically at that time, what we did was we collated all our resources, all our concentrators, all our nurses, everyone, and doctor, all of them together, and put them in a hotel. Now there were hotel isolation facilities already there, but those facilities were taking patients who were 90 plus saturation level, right? Which means they were okay, they will not go anywhere. We started taking patients from 80% saturation upwards, people who were not getting beds in the hospital but required clinical requirements, and we were able to save roughly 100 lives in that process, right? Luckily no one died, and but what we did was not technically, you know there's no there's no law which was there to have, do this, but eventually, we were able to at least save so many people. Of course, so many people still wanted to come in, and we were full, but yet, it was a gratifying experience, uh, and it was a risky experience, because all our teams were also with COVID patients, right? So besides us taking the risk at a company level, each and every person was with COVID patients. What happened next was an understanding that, look, when you do home care and when you do hospital care, there are many a times when certain type of cases require a multidisciplinary team to act upon the patient so that recovery could happen, so that you can manage the patient well. And in some cases, there are situations where you will not be able to handle that at home. So, and hospitals may not be the best place. Hospitals are for acute interventions, saving lives, etc. But there is a gap in between. This process initiated the idea that yes, there is an opportunity available, and that's how we started the transition care centers. Now we have, currently 300 beds, and we'll become 500 beds in the next couple of months. So it's a huge change which got created because of this incidence, realizing that yes, there are opportunities available. We are the largest player in transition care in the country, and that has become one of the largest revenue revenue point for us. So yeah, that's an example for what you asked for.
Yeah. So I must say that that was a bold move that you took, and that undoubtedly paid off. So that was a great move by your organization. So moving on, with the rise of telemedicine and digital health solutions, so how does HCH strike the right balance between leveraging technology while maintaining the importance of a face-to-face interaction with patients?
So we are a phygital company, right? We are not a pure digital company, and we are not a pure physical company. Our The way to think about it, the balance is where, healthcare has care built into it, right? And care in most cases requires personal touch, right? So anything which requires personal touch, empathy, right, and care elements are something which we prioritize human interaction, right? Anything which does not require that, right, or has less requirement, if I may, right? Anything which has process improvement, anything which has, technology to manage, monitor patients, right, to be able to reduce the costs, to be able to, communicate, educate, the patients more, or their NOKs more, or for them to interact with us, right? All these things are you can build on technology, because that will lead to process improvement, that will lead to cost reduction, that will lead to standardization of outcomes, and so on. But the care, the human touch, is through people. So that's the balance which we continue to maintain in technology, and technology versus people.
Well, that's a thoughtful approach to embracing the technological advancements. So, moving on to the final question of the day. So, HCA's commitment to delivering healthcare at home is undoubtedly commendable, and we also heard your views on it. So, how do you envision the future of home healthcare and its potential impact on the traditional hospital care in the coming years?
See, we have expanded the definition of home health care to in the out of hospital care, right? So we have expanded the service lines which we have. Though principally the problem solutions, the problem statements continue to remain the same: access, affordability, and standardized outcomes. Hospitals are for saving lives, for acute intervention, right? People should go there for those services. That's where their incentivization happens, their profit margins, their economics work. When you have higher ARPOs, because they've invested a lot of money in building the hospitals, right? So rightly so, and their processes are very uh, necessarily clinical in nature because they have to act with relatively less emotion and acting so that saving people lives becomes important or acute things become important, right? So we are actually an extension uh, to what the hospitals do. So for example, if there is a patient who has undergone a surgery, right, a spine surgery. Now when a spine surgery is completed, typically the patient is still bedridden, right? The surgery could have happened because of an accident or a fall or something else, which could have been life threatening or could have been very acute. So the hospital did their job with the acute intervention and saving the life. But after that, the patient, what does the patient want? The patient wants to be at the same level of quality of life as he was earlier, right? So, for example, if someone was walking, running, speaking, eating everything, by themselves, and let's say there was an accident on a bike, right? And there was a spinal cord injury. Now, the same patient would want to go to the exact life or closest to the exact life, but the hospital cannot service that patient, and it takes 30-45 days for the patient to get recovered. Patients also don't want to be in the hospitals. We have all faced this, right? No one wants to be in the go inside the hospital. Everyone wants to come out of the hospitals faster. And that's where our recovery piece comes into picture, that we can take this patient bedridden and get him walking, speaking, eating, writing, and maybe over a period of time running, and doing his bike ride again, right? So, and that too is an environment which is a mix of home plus hospital, right? So our environments are more like what you'll see in Munna Bhai MBBS, right? So you can play carom, you can do singing, you can have music therapy, you can have dance, everything, which is very different from the hospital. So we are not in competition. We both have to come to solve the healthcare problem. Hospitals for saving lives, we for quality of life.
Well, that's truly exciting to envision. And so, thank you, Mr. Vivek Srivastava, for sharing your insights and experience with us today. And it has been an absolute pleasure to have you with us on Elets Innovation Talk.
Thank you, Kaanchi.
I would also like to thank all our viewers for joining us today on this enlightening episode of Elets Innovation Talk. So stay tuned for more inspirational conversations with visionary leaders who are making a positive impact on the world. So until next time, keep innovating and transforming lives. Have a good day ahead. Thank you.